MMA Rants and Raves, The Ultimate Fighter Season 11, Finale, Keith Jardine versus Matt Hamill. Guys, let's talk about this fight. You see these two guys starting out strictly wanting to strike with each other. That was the strategy for both of these guys. It was a bit surprising for Hamill because Hamill has that wrestling pedigree. I figured he would go in for some takedowns and try to control Jardine because Jardine's not a wrestler, he's a striker. But that's not what happened, so I was surprised. But then I thought about it. I said, you know what? Now I understand the strategy, because Hamill knows that Jardine has suffered some early knockouts in his past few fights. So he figures, look, maybe I can get inside, get a shot, and it might be enough, and I can put this guy away. But it wasn't working because Jardine was looking really sharp. His striking was good. The leg kicks were really hard. It looked like the old Keith Jardine, and he just could not get inside. Jardine was utilizing his reach and striking, and also his counter-punching was really good. When Hamill tried anything, he countered very well. So he was really picking apart Hamill, frustrating him, and he just took that first round. Moving on to the second round, basically saw the same. Jardine was mixing up the leg kicks good with the punches. He was countering Hamill, but then, unfortunately, something happened, and that is, it was an eye poke. Now, what happened was, after the eye poke, when Jardine poked Hamill in the eye, of course it wasn't intentional, it was strictly accidental. He got deducted to the point. I had a problem with that. I didn't agree with that. Usually they warn the fighters, especially if it's strictly unintentional, and of course it seemed to do a lot of damage because of the way Hamill reacted. But I think it was a little bit excessive to deduct the point. The whole momentum changed after that, and the reason is because Jardine started to get into this urgency factor. He probably said to himself, look, this fight is on the line, and maybe my very career, and I better just take it to this guy and try to finish him. And that was a huge mistake because he was already up one round. The second round, even with the point deducted, was close, and he was trying to finish him, and he tried to brawl with him, he tried to attack him. Big mistake. You can't brawl with Hamill. He's a big, strong guy. He has that grappling ability, which means he's getting closer to you, grapple, and he can take you down. And that's exactly what happened. You know, he basically brawled with Jardine. He got the better of that exchange when they were up against the cage. He grappled, and you could just see what happened with Jardine. He had that huge cut that opened up, and that was a result of that exchange, which Hamill won. And he got that second round as a result. It wasn't just the point. Then you look at the third round, it was the same strategy by Jardine. Big mistake, trying to brawl, trying to have these big brawl exchanges. You just don't do that. You're not going to win with a guy like Hamill like that. You know, Jardine is known to be a guy who doesn't have that knockout power. He's a guy who's very cerebral by methodically breaking his opponent down with those very hard leg kicks, mixing it good together with counter punching. I mean, he's very good at that. That's how he's won those big fights, especially the one against Chuck Liddell. And he was not sticking to basics. That's what cost him the fight. The judges gave the decision, although it was a close fight, they gave it to Hamill. And if you just look at Jardine, the judges look at that. You know, his face looked really bad. He had a nasty cut. And of course that was built into the decision. I mean, it's unfortunate because this guy has lost a lot of fights now. And, you know, some of those fights were good fights. He's fought well. He just made a mistake. He made a mistake, and that's what cost him. He just wasn't patient. He tried to finish Hamill. And you just can't do that. That's just not the way this guy fights. And it cost him the fight. Now, as far as Jardine, I think he should just get one more fight. You guys may rip me for this, you know, say, oh, well, you know, he's lost all these fights, maybe he should just hang it up. But, you know, this was a good fight. I think he made a mistake. His fights are exciting. You know, the last fight against Bader was tough. It was a good fight till he got caught. I think he just was impatient, and that's what cost him this fight. If he would have stuck to his game plan, mix up the leg kicks with the punches, it looked like he was just cruising along and probably would have gotten the decision. That's the way I see it. Would like to know what you guys think about the future of the Nordic Viking, and of course Matt Hamill. You know, Matt Hamill was very impressive. I mean, here's a guy, I got all the respect in the world for this guy. It's amazing what he's been able to overcome. I mean, just think about it. When he's fighting in there, he can't even hear his corner. So he's really all alone out there, just fighting on his own, thinking of his own strategies. It's just so difficult to do when you have that disadvantage that he has. And he just fought a great fight. You know, got to tip my hat off to him. It was a good fight. Enjoyed it. Would like to know what you guys think about both fighters in the future. Please leave your comments below the video to let me know. Please rate this video and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.